Okay, this is warm-up for week 7. Remember, if your grade was not a 70% or better, make sure you do this, but this time make sure I get it by Monday because I will not be here Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll be in the building but not in class. So number 1, if you had a problem with number 1, if you missed it, you probably did not line up your decimals. So remember that number 1 in the problem, it says 63 and 2900ths plus 52 and 6/10 plus 1 has a decimal at the end. So I go ahead and put my zeros in as placeholders. So this way I'm just going to add straight down now. So I'm going to say 9 plus 0 is 9. 2 plus 6 plus 0 is 8. Do not forget your decimal. 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 5 plus 0 is 11. So your answer for number 1 should have been 116 and 8900ths. Okay, for number 2, it had subtraction and addition. So the first thing I'm going to do is 32 minus 14. I do have to rename, so because I cannot do 2 minus 4. But I can do 12 minus 4, which is 8. 2 minus 1 is 1. Now that I subtracted, I can go ahead and add 18 and 29 together. And that's where I get my 47 from. So my answer to number 2 is 47. Okay, on number 3, the first thing you had to do was on this problem is multiply. So I'm going to multiply 6 and 3/10 times 4. I do not have to line up my decimals, but I do know when I solve it, I'm going to move it over one place. So as I work this out, I'm going to say 4 times 3 is 12, carry the 1. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Since I have a decimal at the end, I move it over one place, so my answer is 25 and 2/10. Then I can add my 2 and 1/10 by lining up my decimal. I like to annex a 0. And now I can just go ahead and start adding. 2 plus 1 is 3. Bring down your decimal. 5 plus 2 is 7. 2 plus 0 is 2. So my answer is 27 and 3/10. Okay, number 4 was division. So make sure you set it up right. So 7 is my divisor. 6 and 3/10 is my dividend. I don't have a decimal in my divisor just behind the 7, so I can just move my decimal straight up into my quotient. Now I can divide. Does 7 go into 6? My answer is no, so that's why I put the 0. 0 times 7 is 0. 6. Bring down the 3. Does 7 go into 63? My answer is yes. 9 times 7 is 63. So my answer to this big problem is 9/10. Okay, number 5, we're getting to the fractions. Most of you guys are doing this correctly. You're just not simplifying. When I'm adding fractions, I need the same denominator, which is 9, so I can keep 9. 6 plus 9 is 15, so my answer is 15/9. So I can simplify that. So 15 is my divisor. 9 is my dividend. Does 9 go into 1? No. Does 9 go into 15? The answer is yes. 1 time, which is 9. And then when I subtract, I get the 6. So remember, you're writing it clockwise, 1 and 6/9. At this point, you change it to a mixed number, but now you have to simplify it. So I can divide 6/9 by 3. To simplify it, 3 is the greatest common factor. So 3 will go into 6 2 times. 3 will go to 9 3 times. So my answer is 1 2/3. Okay, number 6 says 3/5 minus 1/5. Remember, when you're adding and subtracting, you must have the same denominator. So we keep it as 5. You're going to subtract 3 minus 1 is 2. So your answer is 2/5. Okay, number 7, you're multiplying 2 mixed numbers. So remember, you have to change them to improper. So as I change them to improper, I'm going to multiply, add. So 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8 over 6. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 4. Now at this point, if you wanted to simplify, you could, but since most of you guys do not, you're going to multiply 8 times 9 is 72 over 24. You're going to simplify it no matter what. So I'm going to do it on the next page. So I got 72 over 24. So there's my problem right there. Does 24 go into 7? The answer is no. Does 24 go into 72? My answer will be yes. So if I want to think about how many times that's going to happen, I will probably, look at 2 goes into 7, maybe 3 times. So I'm going to put a 3 right there. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 7, or plus 1 is 7. So my answer to this problem is just 3. Okay, number 8, you got division of fractions, 5/9 divided by 4/3. Remember your KCF. So KCF, keep the first fraction. Change division to multiplication. Flip the second, take your reciprocal. Now you can just multiply straight out if you're not going to simplify first. 5 times 3 is 15. 9 times 4 is 36. 1536 needs to be simplified. Find your greatest common factor, which is 3. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 goes into 36 12 times. So your answer is going to be 5/12. Okay, number 9, if you would set up the proportion correctly, I'm sorry, and I set it up wrong. Okay, I was doing the backside. It's going to be money over ounces, money over ounces. You're actually going to do 2 problems like that, and you're going to do a unit rate. So the first one should be $4.08, and you get 8 ounces, and you want to find out how much money for 1 ounce. So you're dividing by 8. You're dividing by 8. If you wanted to do your equations, 8x is equal to 8 times 1. Either way, I just like to do the loops. When you divide 408 by 8, you should get 51 cents per ounce. You're going to do the same thing for the other one, except for different numbers. Now you got $4.10 for 10 ounces, and you want to find out how much for 1 ounce. So again, I like to use my loops, divide by 10, divide by 10, or if you wanted to do your cross multiplying, 10x equals 410 times 1. Either way, you're going to get the same answer. When I divide 410 by 10, I get 41 cents per ounce. So it's asking you which one's the better deal, and when I'm buying stuff, I want to spend less money, so the 10 ounce is the better deal because it's less per ounce. Number 10 says, what is the product of 2/3 times 5/6, because product means the answer to multiplication, and the key word there is in simplest form. So as you multiply, 2 times 5, you get 10. 3 times 6, you get 18. Even though 10/18 is on the sheet, that is not in simplest form. So we want to make sure we put it in simplest form. Since they're both even, I know I can divide it by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 8 divided by 2 is 9. So my answer is 5/9. Remember, make sure you give this to me by Monday.